I'd like to talk briefly about a model that I'm familiar with about the fundamental nature of work. A definition for work is that work involves thinking, planning, deciding, doing, and if you're really smart, reviewing in order to achieve some productive purpose. That's basically what work's about. In any work, you're trying to achieve an output. The output is the what you're trying to achieve. It might be a product or a service, but you measure it in terms of quantity and quality normally. So the output is important. To achieve that output, it's also very helpful to understand the context and purpose for the piece of work that you're doing. Context and purpose, or the why, allows people to make meaning of their work and also helps them make decisions about what you do in certain situations, particularly when things go wrong. The other consideration is the limits of discretion. So the boundary limits are the limits set in most organisations, and they can be for people reasons, technical, financial, safety, resource reasons, and it's important that people understand those boundary limits. The actual detail of the work that a person does in a role or in a task is the thinking, planning, deciding, doing, and ultimately reviewing to achieve that output. Normally work isn't a linear process straight from the task initially to the output. There's decisions people need to make along the way. So the quality of those decisions is important, and it also gives an indication of a person's capability as to the quality of their decisions and the pathway they choose to achieve that output. The time to completion is also important. As part of a task assignment, the maximum time to completion is important to understand for the individual, so that both the individual doing the task and the person assigning the task achieve an outcome that satisfies both people. So time to completion is critical. Also, careful thought needs to be given to when people exceed those boundary limits and what might be the consequences. Generally, if people exceed the boundary limits and there's no consequence, people are more likely to continue to exceed those boundary limits. So the limits of discretion allow people to make decisions within those limits. The reason I believe this framework is useful is for three basic reasons. One is it's a useful framework and a checklist when you assign a task to an individual or you're given a task to you from your boss. The second reason is in role clarity, to understand those limits and the work fundamentally in your role is important. And it also is a consideration in systems design where the structured processes for people to do their work has clear limits set, but they allow people to get on and do their work and don't suppress people's capability. In summary, my observation is organisations that excel have given very careful thought to the framework that I've just described with the limits, so that people can willingly give their best to achieve the organisational goals.